Most people don't fail at reselling because reselling doesn't work. They fail because they start with the wrong expectations, and they misunderstand how these platforms actually work. Welcome to RemzoCo. Here we break down reselling and other realistic ways to make money online without hype or unrealistic promises. This channel focuses on how these platforms actually work, what matters long-term, and how to avoid the mistakes that cost beginners time, money, and motivation. A lot of people are introduced to reselling through short clips, screenshots, or highlight reels. You see payouts, sold screens, or stacks of packages going out the door, and it creates the impression that reselling is fast, simple, and almost automatic. What you don't see are the weeks or months of listing, testing, adjusting prices, rewriting descriptions, and learning how buyers actually behave. That part rarely gets shown, but it's the part that determines whether reselling works or not. So when beginners list an item or two and nothing sells right away, they assume something is wrong. They think the platform is broken, the market is oversaturated, or that reselling just isn't worth the effort. In reality, none of those things are usually true. What's missing isn't luck or timing, it's understanding. Reselling is not passive, it's a system. And like any system, it only works when all of the parts are built and allowed time to work together. Listings, pricing, visibility, consistency, all of these pieces matter, especially early on. One of the biggest mindset shifts new sellers need to make is understanding that reselling doesn't give instant feedback. You don't list something today and automatically get a clear signal tomorrow. Instead, you're putting items into a marketplace, allowing the platform to test them and giving buyers time to find them. That delay can feel uncomfortable, especially if you're used to more immediate results. And that discomfort is one of the main reasons people quit too early. In the beginning, reselling is about building a foundation. You're building inventory, you're building data, you're building visibility. Sales often come later once the system has enough information to work with. This is where expectations matter. If you expect reselling to behave like a quick transaction, you'll feel discouraged almost immediately. But if you understand that the early phase is about setup and learning, the process starts to make more sense. A lot of people judge reselling based on what happens in the first week or two. But those early weeks aren't about consistent sales yet. They're about learning how the platform responds, how buyers interact, and what needs to be adjusted. Once you understand that reselling is a system, not a shortcut, everything else starts to fall into place. And that's what this video is about, why so many people fail early and how to avoid making those same mistakes. One of the biggest reasons people fail at reselling is because they start with far too few listings and expect meaningful results anyway. Many beginners list one item, maybe two or three, and then wait. When nothing sells quickly, they assume reselling doesn't work or that they chose the wrong platform. In reality, the issue usually isn't what they listed. It's how little data they gave the system to work with. This is a mistake I made early on. Years ago, I listed a single high-end children's item and waited for it to sell. When it didn't move quickly, I stopped listing altogether. At the time, I assumed the platform wasn't effective. Looking back, the problem wasn't the item or the platform, it was my expectations. On platforms like Poshmark, sales are driven heavily by volume. One listing gives you one chance to be seen, that's it. If that one listing doesn't align perfectly with what a buyer is searching for at the right moment, nothing happens. When you have more listings, everything changes. 10 listings give you 10 opportunities to be discovered. 50 listings give the platform enough information to start understanding your closet and how buyers interact with it. 100 listings create consistency, even if individual items sell slowly. This is where a lot of beginners get discouraged. They're evaluating reselling based on a sample size that's simply too small. It's like running one ad and deciding marketing doesn't work, or applying to one job and assuming no one is hiring. A more realistic beginner goal isn't listing one item and waiting for it to sell. It's building momentum. 10 listings is a starting point. 50 listings is where you begin to see patterns. 100 listings gives you a much clearer picture of pricing, demand, and buyer behavior. Another important thing to understand is that volume doesn't just increase your chances of sales. It also increases your learning speed. With more listings, you start to notice which items get likes, which listings attract questions, and which price points move faster. That information is incredibly valuable, but you can't access it if you only have a handful of items listed. There's also a psychological component to this. When you have very few listings, every item feels high stakes. If it doesn't sell, it feels personal. When you have more inventory, you stop obsessing over individual items and start focusing on the system as a whole. That mindset shift alone helps many sellers stay consistent instead of quitting early. It's also important to understand that bigger sellers didn't start big. Every large closet began with a first listing, then a second, then a third. The difference is that successful sellers kept going long enough to let volume work in their favor. This doesn't mean you need to rush out and buy a huge amount of inventory right away. Many people start with items from their own closet, and that's a smart way to begin. What matters is consistency, continuing to list over time instead of stopping after a few attempts. Reselling rewards people who keep building. List enough items to give the platform something to work with. That's how reselling actually starts to work. Another major reason people struggle with reselling is visibility. This is one of the least understood parts of reselling, and it's where a lot of frustration comes from. Many beginners assume that once an item is listed, buyers will automatically see it, but reselling platforms don't work that way. Visibility isn't guaranteed. It's influenced by activity, relevance, and how well your listings are structured. On platforms like Poshmark, sharing still plays a major role in whether your listings are seen. When buyers search, results are often shown in recently shared order. That means activity matters. Even with recent changes to the platform, consistent sharing, whether that's multiple times a day or at least once daily, continues to make a noticeable difference. When sharing stops, listings slowly lose visibility. Sales often slow down as a result. When sharing continues, items are more likely to appear closer to the top of search results again. Sharing doesn't guarantee sales, but it keeps your listings in circulation so buyers actually have a chance to find them. This is where a lot of people get discouraged. They list items, don't share consistently, and then assume there's no demand. In reality, the items may simply not be visible enough to sell, but activity alone isn't enough. SEO matters on every reselling platform, and this is something many sellers overlook entirely. The way you title your listings, the keywords you choose, and how clearly you describe your items all affect whether buyers can find what you're selling. Strong SEO helps your listings appear in platform search results, and in some cases, through external search engines like Google or Pinterest as well. Many beginners use vague titles or very short descriptions. They might list an item as cute dress or black top, without realizing that buyers search with specific words. Brand names, styles, materials, and fit details. If those keywords aren't in your listing, your item may never appear in the search results at all. SEO is especially important because it works quietly in the background. You won't always see immediate results, but over time, well-written listings tend to get more consistent views, likes, and sales. Visibility is really a combination of two things: activity and searchability. Sharing helps keep your listings circulating, while SEO helps buyers find them in the first place. When either one is missing, results are usually slower and more inconsistent. This is also why reselling feels unpredictable to a lot of beginners. They may do everything right one week and see nothing happen, then suddenly get multiple sales at once. Often that's visibility catching up, not randomness. Understanding this makes reselling far less frustrating. Instead of asking, "Why isn't this selling?" the better question becomes, "Is this listing visible enough and is it searchable enough?" On this channel, we'll go deeper into both of these topics in future videos, including how to structure listings for search, how often to share realistically, and how to balance effort without burning out. We'll also be talking about sourcing, which is one of the biggest questions people have in reselling. Where to find good inventory, what to avoid, and how sourcing changes depending on the platform. And selling style you choose. Sourcing is a huge part of success, and it's something we'll break down honestly, not just the highlights. When you understand visibility, SEO, and sourcing together, reselling starts to feel far more predictable and far less random. Another reason people fail at reselling is that they misunderstand the relationship between investment and results. A lot of people come into reselling with extremely high expectations, but very low input. They might invest a few $100s or even $1,000 and expect massive outcomes. And while big wins do happen occasionally, they're the exception, not the rule. In most cases, reselling returns are tied directly to how much you invest and how efficiently you turn that investment. If you invest $1,000 into inventory, it's not realistic to expect $100,000 in sales from that same inventory. That kind of outcome would require either a unicorn find or extremely rare high-value items, and those situations are not common. What is more realistic is doubling your money, tripling it, or in some cases, achieving a 4 or 5 times return, depending on the category, sourcing method, and experience level. Those kinds of returns are actually very strong in reselling, but they often get overshadowed by unrealistic comparisons online. This misunderstanding is made worse by screenshot culture. You'll often see sellers posting large sales numbers without context. What those screenshots usually don't show are cost of goods, platform fees, shipping, returns, or time invested. Revenue looks impressive, but revenue alone doesn't tell you whether a reseller is actually profitable. Profit is what matters, and profit is what allows reselling to be sustainable long-term. Another mistake that ties into this is copying experienced sellers too early. Beginners see sellers doing extremely well, especially in live selling, and assume they can replicate the same results immediately by sourcing the same types of inventory. What's missing from that comparison is time. Time spent building consistency, time spent learning what sells, time spent building an audience and trust. Buying inventory just because someone else sells it well can be one of the fastest ways to lose money. Reselling rewards patience and alignment. Alignment between the platform you choose, the category you sell in, and the amount you're willing to invest, not just financially, but in time and effort as well. This is also where mindset matters. Reselling doesn't give instant feedback. Some weeks are slow, others come in bursts. That uneven feedback loop makes people feel like they're failing when they're actually building momentum. The sellers who succeed long-term usually focus on inputs instead of obsessing over outcomes. They list consistently, they improve visibility, they refine sourcing, and they evaluate results honestly based on profit, not just sales volume. When you approach reselling this way, it becomes far more predictable and far less stressful. On this channel, we'll continue breaking reselling down realistically. We'll also be sharing sourcing secrets in an upcoming video. If this video was helpful, please consider subscribing. See you in the next video.